Hello and welcome to the Murloc Podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Luck.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by a healthy, albeit shameful, helping to potent banter, lack of focus, and questionably acquired knowledge.
And more.
And more. I want to get into the development of morals. So from when you were a child, if you have any memory, any stories of how you've been able to empathize with certain people to develop one attitude towards something or another. I was thinking about it the other day when I was considering the way I parent my child and the way I was parented. It's so different from the way that I have seen other kids be parented when I was a kid. I feel like maybe I hover too much. Well, not like I'm constantly over her shoulder, but I give way more guidance than I was ever given as a kid. And I'm wondering if it's too much. I mean, you could never really say for certain. You have all these child therapy books or raising books and psychiatrists that tell you exactly step by step of how to raise a child so they're a normal functioning human being and blah, blah, blah. But who adheres to that? I don't, for one. But I was thinking about it, and I have the way I like to do things. But when I was a kid, my parents were a lot more hands-off and let me live life and learn from experience. So I made countless mistakes, lots of regrets, lots of things that I shouldn't have done, but I had learned from it. I gained wisdom from it, from making all those mistakes. And from what I had experienced as a child, all the, not necessarily traumas, but having to face all these things that were really difficult, I have made so many attempts with my child not to let her make those same mistakes. Since my mistakes were so numerous, I give a lot of guidance to my child.
Right. Learn from my mistakes.
I don't know if I'm robbing her of that experience. I'm saying all this because as far as morals go, they're developed over time from experience and wisdom, such as the treatment of other people. I remember when I was a kid in elementary school, I would get picked on a lot, usually for my ears. I have big ears. And when I was a child,
Dumbo over here.
my ears were the same size when I was a kid that they are now as an adult. So it was pretty bad. And I got picked on a lot for my physical appearance. And I remember one day in particular where I got picked on so much and I was fed up and I was angry, I was frustrated. And there's this kid, he was innocent enough, but he cut me in line. I don't remember what we were doing, but he had cut in line in front of me because you know how the school rules go when you're a kid. The person in front of you is in charge, and they can dictate whether or not someone can cut behind them.
I have never heard of this.
That was a rule that was going around.
This was a rule that the kids developed on their own. There was no parents that were like, that kid in front of you, he's in charge. No, it's because that one kid, all high and mighty, his one friend cuts right behind him. He turns around and goes, no, that's fine.
He's with me. Yeah. It develops like an instant pecking order as soon as you get into the line. And I wasn't having it. I got really mad and I grabbed the kid and I shoved him. He banged his head off of a desk and he got a bloody nose. I remember the way he looked at me when he fell to the floor, this look of shock, perhaps fear, because he thought I was going to continue. I just remember the feeling I got on the inside, how bad I felt.
Rush. Oh, no.
No. I felt so powerful.
But that is the day the psycho was born.
Yeah, right? No, I felt so incredibly bad, and I didn't even apologize to him.
Well, no, he cut in front of you. So.
He deserved it. No. I felt so guilty about it, but I didn't apologize, and I regretted not apologizing to the kid. He never talked to me, never got near me ever again after that throughout the school year. He thought I had something against him, which I didn't. I didn't have anything against him. It was just I lashed out because of my frustrations of being bullied. Little experiences like that, which helped me develop a more empathetical nature towards people, trying to opt for kindness rather than violence, of course. It was a bad experience and it haunted me, and I still remember it to this day. I mean, I was in like kindergarten.
Really just resonated with you. You were like, I will never forget that.
And like, it was just little things like that that has happened throughout my life that I tried to coach my daughter through, and even if it's preventative, like a cautionary tale. It's just to scare your child away from acting a certain way or doing something that's inadvisable. And I do that a lot.
I would say almost like a story of Cain and Abel, right?
Yeah, don't kill your brother, I guess.
Don't kill your brother because you're jealous, because you're upset.
Yeah, it's bad. Don't do that. But I was thinking more along the lines of like the boy who cried wolf type of thing.
Or yeah, that too. Don't lie, because eventually people won't listen to you. And then next thing you know, you're being eaten by wolves.
Yeah, true. True. You're being eaten by wolves. That would suck.
That's not how that story goes.
That's what it is. I tell my child all these cautionary tales to guide her from making the same mistakes that I have. But at the same time, I feel like from doing that, she won't make these poor choices herself and learn from them. I don't know if it would be further instilled in her not to perform these actions or have these attitudes towards people, and eventually she'll get brave and not heed the cautionary tales. I don't know. It's too early to tell. I would love to hear a story that you may have of some morals that you had developed as a child.
I was also a kid who had to deal with bullies. I mean, we've talked about bullies. Of course, one day, I don't know whether it was some of the ideas from some action movies where I was like, I gotta stand up for myself because nobody's here to stand up for me. So one day, get picked on for wearing glasses and being called a four-eyed freak. And then you're like, who do you think you are? Pot calling the kettle black, a little chubby kid picking on a kid with glasses. It felt wrong. When I loaded my avatar in and I got to choose whether I wanted to be chaotic, neutral, whatever, I tried to follow the path of good, and at the very least tend to be probably more of a vigilante. More than anything. If nobody else does anything about it, then sometimes you need to step up and do it yourself. That's the way I've seen it. I give forewarning. I'm like, hey, so here's what's going on. We should probably change things. And if I don't see change, guess something's going to happen. I warned you.
Sure, but whenever you had stood up for yourself and you combated these bullies.
Oh, when I immediately just reacted, bad things happened. I was the one to get in trouble for it.
But what morals did you develop as a result?
Don't immediately react. That's what I had learned from that experience. Don't just immediately lash out. Seek some other form of resolution versus immediately reacting with violence. And it's not that I beat the kid up. I did not beat the kid up. We all learn just these little lessons, and I can't help but feel that those lessons were supposed to be learned.
I feel like my teenage years were the worst as far as being treated poorly. Much of my teenage years were spent with people that were older than me that weren't as relatable, I suppose you could say, and therefore very patronizing towards me and putting me down constantly till I found myself often in a downtrodden state. It was pretty ridiculous what I had to face on a daily basis. I felt this helplessness that I couldn't fight back because of the situation I was in my place of work. What I had learned from that is that I never wanted to put somebody else through that. So treating people poorly or being patronizing towards other people is something that I actively try to avoid. If they seem a little bit slow, not the brightest current in the box. Even if that is the case, I want to be encouraging towards them and, help them feel supported. I know oftentimes at get-togethers with friends, I could think of a few instances. You had this friend group, especially if it's the guys, we'll always pick out the weakest link and we'll find someone to pick on. Be like, homeboy there, he's going to be taking all the shit tonight, right? Be a good sport. And even though I know it's lighthearted, fun, sometimes it can go a little far, especially if we're drinking. There's been so many occasions where I've gotten the back of that person that's being picked on, because I can instantly see when they're being bothered by it. I don't want to go into too many personal stories with that, but it's always been positive, the result, because everybody had lightened up, been made to realize that they were taking it too far. Like I said, I know it's lighthearted fun. Boys will be boys. That's how we do things. We just give each other shit constantly. I guess from those experiences that I had in the past, I can't let it go sometimes.
What I'm hearing, though, is that you also fell down the path of chaotic good. You would poke fun at these other kids, but you would also be the one to kind of share heart to heart, right? So situations I had experienced, like there are people that I befriended, I'd pick on them. But when I seen that they were in a downtrodden state, it was time to bring it around. Come on, let's talk about it. And then I'd have to be like, I'm just picking on you. If I didn't do this, and I guess it was just the way I was raised too, but if I didn't pick on you, I just didn't like you. It's just how it is. You get used to it. You almost get numb to your friends poking fun at you.
Eventually you learn how to take the piss without anybody's feelings getting hurt. It's a developed skill. I think learning not to take things too personally. It's not like every time me and you and some other friends hang out, I cry myself to sleep or anything. It's I don't take it personally at all.
I'll be talking to my therapist about that.
I don't know if I have any closing thoughts.
Only pick on your closest of friends.
Know who to pick on. But that's not even what the topic was today. It was developing morals.
It's not, morals. Be a good person.
Well, it's not necessarily, being good or bad. It's just like how you had developed them and attempts you can make in future to, I don't know, develop better morals. Or do your morals actually ever change? There's been so many studies in the past of people saying people never change. But then studies show that people are almost completely different people by the time they're in their elderly age. I'm willing to stand by that because I feel like I've changed drastically from especially my teens, early 20s till now.
I would say that you can still put an imprint on somebody. They might not follow through with the advice that you give them, but it's still there in the back of their minds, even when they're about to do the act that you said, you probably shouldn't do this. They'll go, oh, wait, why do I have a sense of familiarity here? I probably shouldn't be doing this, right?
So as far as changing or developing those morals, I feel like the more you experience, perhaps the better your morals become.
You can hope so. For some individuals.
For some, it's a case-by-case basis, but I feel like the more you experience in your early age, the better idea you have to approach situations in the future as an adult. If you're too sheltered, you don't get out much, you don't socialize very much, then you won't get the chance to develop better morals in your adulthood.
Yeah, that's true, too. They usually say be careful of the quiet ones. What? Just saying, they got bad morals, apparently.
They're inexperienced. Maybe that's what it is. Bad morals is simply inexperience. It's something to ruminate on, yeah?
I shall sit in my study and ponder.
Maybe that's why I haven't grown up in so long, is because I spend so much time alone.
We're just locked away, staring at our computer screens.
Little safe rooms, watching this little Audacity bar move up and down, right and left. never to see the light of day. God, we gotta end this.
Yeah.
Okay. If you enjoy the Merle and Locke podcast, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Merle and Locke or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.